are paying. But part of the problem with this is basically he also is suggesting that he's going to he's insisting that drug manufacturers work with private insurance companies to lower prices, and I don't think he actually could do that. This particular EO doesn't really come into effect right away. I mean, I know there are people saying, oh, drug prices are going to go down right away. It doesn't really do that. Kennedy is supposed to talk to them, then there's notice, then there's comments, then there's something else if they don't do it. So I don't think we expect to see even a lawsuit, quite frankly, right away. I think maybe something will happen in the next 30 to 60 days as to a lawsuit. As we've been discussing, Qatar plane was offered to the United States as a Air Force One replacement or addition. I think we've had a lot of discussions about that, and I think people are correct. Just forget Trump. Just think about any other country accepting a plane like this, which is supposed to be your most secure plane for your president, and a huge gift, and acting as if it's no big deal. And this gift will not stay with the American government. It will go on to the benefit of Donald Trump and his library ultimately. Just think about that. It's not a pretty picture. The United States welcomed 59 white refugees from South Africa. This is, as someone mentioned, quite well fed. This is on the same day that it ended trying to end the TPS program for Afghani citizens who had helped the United States in Afghanistan. And when asked about this and the sort of dichotomy there, a government spokesman said that these white South Africans, quote, assimilate better and they're not as much of a security risk. I will just leave that statement with you. It is, I believe, very sad that we promised Afghan citizens who helped us that they would, that they would be able to come here. And now what Trump has also said is, well, they're no longer in as much danger in Afghanistan. I don't think that's true for a minute, but he suggested that the government in Afghanistan, the Taliban, would not be against them. I don't think that's true. I don't even understand why he would try and do this. Um, because of the South Africans being brought here, the Episcopal Church said that it was terminating its partnership with the government to resettle refugees. Now, this has been 4 decades long, and they've done all sorts of helpful things, and they've had NGOs, et cetera, and they're basically saying, we're not going to do it. Harvard wrote a letter to Linda McMahon. Remember last week, she had written a letter saying, you're not getting any more grants from us. Don't even bother to apply. And they basically said, look, we agree with some of your positions. We think we should curb anti-Semitism, foster intellectual diversity, things like that. But what you're saying and how you're doing it is violating the constitutional freedom of private universities and disregarding our compliance with law, and we do not agree with you. Finally, so there is a budget that is going around in the House right now and the Senate, and I just want to let everyone know that this budget has nothing, still has tax on tips and tax on overtime. So granted, it's not a tax bill, but they're including that sort of revenue in this. So nobody is going to be getting rid of tax on tips or tax on overtime, regardless of what you were promised. Thank you.
Tara, I read something different. I read that they do have the tax on tips, but it's only good through 2028. And I was like, and like when they're speaking about the child tax credit right now, it's $2,000. If it's not extended, it goes down to $1,000 later on this year. And he's extending that to he's taking it up to 2020. He's taking it up to 2,500, but it's once again only through 2028. Guys, that's crazy. Think about this. He's doing everything for his term. He's not doing it for America. He's doing it for his term. Did anyone else read that? Anyone else? Is anyone aware of this? I don't know if you're aware of this, Tara. So the credit for the tax on tips is
Wait,
going to be
you're right. It's like 6 hours ago, they just proposed new tax breaks for income overtime pay, private school tuition, state and local taxes, and it would be offset by new restrictions on Medicaid, which would throw about 5 million people off of Medicaid. Great. And also this would increase the deficit by a large amount of money. You're right. They can deduct up to 30,000 for taxes. Okay, I would have to read this. Okay, as of yesterday, it hadn't happened, but apparently it did happen
Yeah.
now this morning.
Yeah, so I just want to, yeah, because I did read it. I did go over that. And because I don't have it in front of me, what I'm saying is the tax on tips only through 2028. Okay, that's through 2028, and that's crazy. Then the child tax credit that you get right now is 2,000. It's going to go down to 1,000 at the end of the year. So he has it rising it to 2,500, but once again only through 2028. Then it goes back down to 2,000. So that's not bad. It's going to extend it past that. But everything he's doing is like during the Trump administration, it was this. During the Trump administration, it was this, but he's putting this stuff in and making it expire after his administration. Just like the plane, he's using the plane during his administration, and after his administration, I'm taking it with me. So I just want to put that out there, folks. So a win for Trump slash MAGA because MAGA seems to agree with him. MAGA seems to agree with him. MAGA is saying, "Hey, what this guy wants is what I want. If it's good for him, that Grant came in today and said, "Hey, I don't mind the plane." Everyone has come in. Hey, Andrew, I don't mind the plane. Everyone has come in today and said, I don't mind the plane. I don't mind what he's doing. You know, uh, Grant left, and he's smart. He left. He's smart because, and I'm glad he left actually, because I don't want to get in trouble. Because the Africana situation. Right now, Donald, the Trump administration has shut down asylum from pretty much every country in the world. We have countries where, like Sudan, where people are being killed, where people are just like, it's crazy. Guys, asylum, okay? Asylum came from the fact that, we had a time in our history back in 40, was it 41, I believe, a boat named St. Louis came sailed from Europe, okay, Germany because of Hitler to get away from Nazi Germany, and the United States, FDR would not let them come into the country. And what happened then was they turned that boat around. They went to Cuba. They went all over the place. The United States turned them around. They went back over to Europe, and it was 900 and I don't know, 937 or 957. I don't know the number. Tara, I don't know if you know the number. I think it's 957 people on that boat, that St. Louis. They got turned around. And over 250 of them were killed in the Holocaust. All right. And the United States vowed that they would never, ever, ever do something like that again. And that's why we have the asylum the way we have it set up. That's why we have asylum. So that we would never, ever, ever turn away people that's in need that we can help. And right now, they said that let's close these doors because we don't want people coming in. Now Donald Trump today, I don't know if anyone has that bit on his press conference. If you guys don't have it, I'll find it and play it really quickly. Um, why he is allowing, why he has decided to allow these particular individuals to come in. It's simple. He said that they are being persecuted. They're white Africans because it doesn't matter if they're white or black, but they happen to be white, and they're being killed, and their land's being taken away. And I want you guys to. Does anyone have that? uh, anyone has that? Uh,
The clip.
yeah. I'm gonna play it right now.
But
Can I
Jonathan,
just
Good. Good.
the thing is, like, the government, the South, whatever you think of the South African government, they are not the people who would be killing these people, right? There's, they might be confiscating land, etc. I don't think they are, but let's just say they are. But they are not killing them. The killing would occur because apparently white farmers are more at risk for violence from local people, etc. Maybe. That's the allegation. Now, I don't understand how this is different than somebody trying to flee a gang violence in Venezuela or El Salvador, right? Trump's acting like this is different because they're at risk of their lives. But it's not like the government's killing them. So how is this any different?
Yeah, Tara. It's guys. Here, you know what I'm gonna do?
they're the most oppressed group in the
Yeah.
world right now.
One second.
That's
So
what they
anyway,
are.
yeah, they are. So you know, let's see if
Joe,
I can
you're saying
play
that
this right
South
here.
African white farmers are the most oppressed. These joke, right?
Evidently that's how the Trump administration sees
I
it,
know. This is like, it's
right?
so
Okay,
ridiculous. It's crazy.
I'm gonna play the audio. Here it is, guys. This is what Trump says.
Refugees. Dozens of Afrikaners who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, right, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others? Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess, a G20 meeting there or something. But we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
All right, guys. Here's the deal. Okay, so there aren't South Africans being systematically killed like that at all, and that no one's land has been confiscated. Now there is they are signing a law because right now there is how should I put this? There is a law out there where they want to reallocate some of the land. Right now, Scott Barth came in and we spoke about this, and he came in. I was ready for him to troll, and we started speaking about this. And he goes, "I don't know much about it." All right, and so I was ready for him to troll, and so Scott went and he's like, "I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna do some research, and I come back." And then he came back and like, "Wow." Yeah, and I said, what's going on?" And so he goes, well, it says here about 9% of the people, okay, the Afrikaners own 85% of the land. And you go, that's fucked up. And so, when you speak about this, okay, and I'm gonna let everyone else speak about this because I'm gonna be the referee in this. I'm not gonna put my feelings out there. But when you speak about this,
You already have.
how do I put my feelings? No, I haven't. But when you speak about this,
Your feelings are all over the place.
yeah. All right. So when you speak about this, I want you guys to keep in mind that Grant, you threw me off. Okay. Because that no land has been allocated. No one has been taken. No land has been taken from anyone yet. None. And they haven't enacted that at all. So there hasn't been any land taken. And so there you guys have it. The floor is open. I forget who brought this to the floor. I just wanted to give you guys the context behind it for the ones that didn't know. The floor is
But you
open.
forgot the most important thing he said, Jonathan. He
What's that?
called it a genocide. Did you miss that?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I did. Yeah, I did.
I thought he was talking about Rwanda.
You talking about Wanda? Who's Wanda?
No,
Wanda.
No,
Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Okay, I'm just kidding. I know. But no, man, really. No, I didn't catch that. I did not catch that. No.
He said it was a genocide. So that would argue that there are very few of them left because of all the terrible killing that's happening, which, by the way, is not happening by the government. So it can't be genocide, but so be it,
Well, it doesn't have to be the government in order for it to be genocide, Tara. I mean, what happened in Rwanda wasn't the government.
No, but what I'm saying is this is not organized people killing the white Afrikaners. It's not happening like that, okay? Go look it up. I looked up on Grok. The statistics are a relatively low number of people who are being killed, and it seems to be, there are some white, some not. It's unclear, right? South Africa has a terrible crime rate. They have a lot of crime. There
Yeah,
are
they
a
do.
number of murders. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying it's not like whites are being targeted.
Let me give you a little background about South Africa. The most endangered people in South Africa are Nigerians. South
Huh?
Africa,
How the fuck you
yes.
gonna insert yourself into that shit? All
Yeah,
right, go
let me
ahead.
tell no, I'm telling you, I'm giving you background. That's the truth. The most endangered people in South Africa are Nigerians because Nigerian South African blacks are hating on Nigerians because Nigerians goes there, they are very prosperous, and they are taking away, they are marrying South African women. So the South African blacks are hating on them on that. They are
Oh.
the ones that are getting killed. Okay,
All right, so
and
so
that
you
is
want us to do a GoFundMe for Nigerians in South Africa?
no,
Is
no,
that
no.
is
I'm
it?
just giving you the point that I'm trying to make to you is the white South Africans are not endangered. There is no IDP camp in South Africa. The president has come up and he debunked all these allegations. People are not displaced. If you look at the people that came in here today, my brother, if you see their sizes and how relaxed that they are, you will know that if somebody wanted to kill them, they wouldn't even run 10 yards before they got him. Okay? This is a whole bunch of nonsense. This is not the first time that these people have left. Okay? Since they started this land decree, some people got offended because they are asking them to share. Okay? You took people's land by force. The government is trying to revamp and have a land decree that will benefit everybody. They don't like it. Some went to New Zealand, some went to Australia. They went over there, they couldn't make a living. They came back to South Africa. Now Donald Trump is bringing them over here. Hopefully, he's going to give them a land or nothing. This is a whole bunch of nonsense. What they are selling you here is horse shit. I'm done.
All right.
Hey,
Anyone? Go ahead. The floor's open.
their land needs to be taken. Bottom line, their land needs to be taken. The Truth and Reconciliation Committee that they did after apartheid was a joke. And those people need to be ran off the land. They lucky it hasn't been done sooner, and it needs to be done now.
That sounds very violent.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, but once again, if you didn't like what happened under apartheid, you shouldn't be advocating for violence now. You do agree with
Run
that,
more
right?
heads out of town. Run them out of town.
This is not about Marley's song.
For 9%, for 9%, for 9% of people to own 85% of the land. Come on, man. What are you talking about, man? The government definitely should redistribute that land. What are we even talking about? Is that equality to you?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking to elaborate because I want to hear all sides. Definitely, I know the audience out there that's listening to the podcast want to hear all sides as well. So every perspective. So yeah, but when you say run them off. When you give people permission to run people off, that usually comes with murder and killing and burning, raping, and everything else. Just the things that our president
That's what
Trump
you
was speaking
said.
about. That's what
The only
Trump
people
then.
that's been doing that on the land, on people's land, has not been people that look like me. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Jonathan, there's
Who?
nothing to hear from the other side. There's
Yeah,
nothing when there's inequality. They have nothing to say. Let's
eh,
whomever
eh,
want to say anything come out and
the-
let us, tell us the other side.
sure. If anyone, do we have any opposition to this? Anyone thinks that this is a good idea? Anyone thinks it's a great idea to bring Afrikaners here? Does anyone think is Marty Bird here? That's
I,
what I
I
wanted.
think it's a great idea because that frees up more land for Black South Africans to take. So come on over here. I'll go buy some land over there. Then
Yeah, but
come
the
on over
people,
here. So,
the people coming here aren't landowners. They have not been proven to be landowners.
no, they do. They aren't living on the streets, Jonathan.
Excuse me.
They are not living on the streets, Jonathan.
Yeah, I know that, but they're not landowners.
Okay.
What
They
I'm
are
telling. Go
okay.
ahead.
Never
No, go
mind.
ahead.
No, go
No,
ahead.
no, 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 chat. See, we don't do the never mind. You got to do some explaining because that's it. Don't ever push back on chat. I'm just asking you a question. So
No, don't ever
clearly,
push back on chat. I was trying to explain.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I didn't know you were trying to explain. We're going back and forth. That's what it's called. It's called a back and forth. It's the exchange. But once you said like you sound like you had some information, I wanted to hear the information.
Oh God. The thing about it is if they come over here, these people aren't living on the streets. They are occupying some type of land, territory, house, dwelling, or something. If they are not there physically physically occupying whatever dwelling that they are in, then that means that South Africans can move in. They can take over whatever territory, land, dwelling, whatever that looks like. Let them come over. Like
Okay.
this is what we keep also forgetting. And we touched on what happened in apartheid, but I don't even know if people understand that these are people that are complaining about the wrong that they committed being made right. They're complaining about that. They're saying that the wrong, that how they treated South Africans during apartheid, the land, the dwellings that they took from them, that now they're trying to right a wrong, and now all of a sudden it's unfair. And the fact that we stood on the side of them and we're saying you can come to America is one thing. So my thing is, if you come over here, you free up space there. By all means, South Africans should take over. Tell them no, you can't come back. Get you a passport or whatever you need to get to stay in America. You are not welcome back in South Africa. I absolutely support what's happening.
Okay, so now let me address where I differ with you, and I think this is where I kept saying no. I say they are not landowners. If Trump is bringing people over that are not landowners, okay, then it pretty much just eliminates his reason for bringing people over because they don't have any land to take. If they are renters, okay, are they living with Nana or whatever they're doing, they're not landowners. So therefore, they're not in danger. That's the point I was making. Does that make sense, folks? Anyone understand what I'm saying? So
I didn't say
now,
anything about danger.
no, I know, but what I'm saying is the reason that Donald Trump is allowing these Afrikaners to come over is because they're landowners, they're farmers, they're getting their land taken from them, okay, and they're being murdered. None of which is happening, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say none of that shit is actually happening though.
None of that's happening. So what I'm saying to you is the people that he brought over, some of these people aren't even landowners. So what that means, even using the criteria that he gave, which isn't happening, these people don't meet that criteria because they don't own land, and land wasn't taken from them. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're renting and all of a sudden you sign up to come over here and they're like, "I come on over," then they let you in here because they wanted to let you in. They didn't let you in here because you're in danger. They let you in here because you look like people from Norway, as he said in his last during his last presidency. That's what I'm. That's anyone understand what I'm trying to say, folks? Anyone? I just want to make sure that I'm not
You
confusing
Yeah,
are
yeah,
anyone.
yeah,
right,
yeah. We do.
100%.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jonathan. You're right. Even the rewriting of the law in South Africa to whereby they're gonna start reclaiming land has not even started yet. So what are we talking about? These people, they're not landowners. They don't own land. Even if they're farmers, do you think they will leave their farmland? A farmer will have to own the land, right? So even if they're a farmer, these guys are not, I don't know. I think there's just some relatives or some, you know, Elon Musk somewhere. That's what I believe. These are not landowners, neither are they farmers either way.
So my question is, we know he's going to. He said he's going to fast track their citizenship. While we wait for that, is America going to put them on a salary? How are they going to freaking survive? Or did they come over here with the riches they got from South Africa? I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to take care of themselves. Is it our tax dollars? It's going to take care of them.
Man,
Well,
they brought them here on a private jet. Do the math.
Well, that
That's right.
there's a big ass elephant in the room. What country is Elon Musk from? And his
yeah, Dave, speak, Dave. Can you speak for us, Dave? Because we walking a tight line here, man, and you got the credentials to speak on this. I think a lot of us are trying to not speak on this.
I,
So,
I think the I
but you
think
got the credentials to speak on this. Go ahead, Dave.
I think it's a glaring possibility that this is a favor to Elon, that he gave him a list of people that his family wanted to bring over here, and hey, exactly to your point, Jonathan, if they're not landowners and whatnot, why not? It's easy to transplant them, and the whole genocide thing is made up, or it would be in the news.
Yeah, so no, let me. Apparently, we're speaking from two different perspectives, and I guess y'all didn't understand what I was saying.
No,
I
we
was
understand what you're
speaking
saying. No,
from.
we understand exactly what you're saying.
No, you didn't, because
Yeah,
your response did not speak to that. Absolutely
no,
not.
here. I'm clarifying because I don't want you to think I don't understand. I understood fully what you're saying. You're saying if you get those people out of South Africa, it's going to open up that space that they occupy for South Africans to move in and take what you call it. And I 100% get that, and everyone gets that. But I think what we're saying is Trump is slapping us in the face
We know that.
because if they are renters, they're not in danger of their land being taken. Okay, they don't even fit the criteria based on what he's saying. That's all we're saying. He's saying white farmers are being killed. Okay, and their land has been taken. It's being taken. No land has been taken yet, and these people that's coming over, some of these people aren't even landowners. They are just coming over here. So we understand what you're saying. The
No,
more,
that's not what I'm saying.
okay,
I'm
what are you saying?
saying I don't care what reason, what fictitious reason that he's bringing them here. They don't have to meet that requirement for me. That's not my point. I don't care if he said they were held at gunpoint and they weren't. I could care less. I'm just saying if they are occupying 80% of the land that is there. I think it's around that. I don't know exactly. But they have a large portion of agriculture and land. If they are coming here, right? However, the percent, I think it's what, 7%. If they are moving or relocating to America, that is freeing up whatever they occupy there, whatever businesses they are attached to, whatever agriculture land that they are attached to, whether they are renting or whatever, because 9 times out of 10 they are not occupying a lot of the same dwellings as South Africans. So I'm not talking about the requirement, whatever Trump said. I know it's made up. I could care less about that. My thing is get them out so we can move in. That is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the requirements that Trump
Yeah,
has made. I know
and
it's
I
15.
and I explained it just that way that you just said. When I think anyone that's listening, I went back, I clarified exactly that point you made. But that's what I'm saying is the 9% of the people own 85% of the land. These people don't own the land; they're renting. Okay, so them leaving, they may be in areas that are still white only because there's still white only towns in Africa, South Africa that the South Africans can't move in. All right, just because South Africans run South Africa, there have been a lot of concessions made. Okay, there's been a lot of concessions made. So all I'm saying, I agree with what you're saying that you move someone out, creates a vacancy where the South Africans can move in or whatever. Okay, but the point that I was making was, and I understand you weren't speaking about the ownership and the requirement. What I'm saying is, it's just a slap in the face that he's telling us that these people are being violent. There's violent people coming after these people, and it's not at all ain't violent. They're being. This is the first time I know of that the requirement to get refugee status, asylum, is the color of your skin. I don't know, Tara. Are there any other times that you know of where that was the requirement?
I'm sorry, I was not doing something else.
I
What's
said this is the first time I where the first time I know of where the requirement to get refugee status was the color of your skin. I said, do you know of any other time?
I mean, I think there are some countries in which it is more likely than not that you would have, Haiti, for example, you might be a certain ethnicity, but I don't. This is very different. As I said, I believe that the pretext.
Everyone in Haiti is black. What are you
Well,
talking
I know.
about?
All right, I don't know 100%. I want to say that. What I'm
What the
saying,
hell?
so if it's Haiti, for example, you could argue that everybody's black who seeks refugee status. But I think this is different because he's made up a pretext that makes no sense at all. They are not being killed by the government. They are not at risk of genocide. This is not happening. maybe there it's a poorish country and there's robberies and there's lots of stuff that might happen, right? But it's not.
South Africa's not poor.
No, but I mean, there's a lot of crime given
Yes,
its.
there's a lot of crime.
There's
There's
a
high
lot of
crime rate.
crime. There might be robber. We don't know the reasons why some farmers or Afrikaners might be targeted, and I'm not going to even go there. What I'm saying is there is no organized genocide going on against them. He's making all this up, and the thing that bothers me the most about it is all of these rationales could be applied. You could say it about any refugee.
You can
There.
say that about Houston.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah. I mean, he's just making up this bull, and it is, of course, when you look at it, the only group of people he seems to be willing to continue to give refugee status or asylum status to is a bunch of white Afrikaners, as opposed to Haitians, Venezuelans, Afghanis, even Ukrainians are at risk
Sudan.
now. Hmm?
Sudan.
Yeah, Sudan. I mean, my God, talk about places to try and escape from. It's extraordinary that this one group of people who are relatively affluent as these things go, and I don't understand this. I really don't understand why people are more upset about this. There has been relatively little. I mean, it's only, I don't know how many people are going to get involved. Right now it's 59. I don't know if that's the ultimate number, but it's extraordinary. I mean, I do think it's probably Elon Musk's general uh, influence that has led him to this. But I also think we've heard Trump for years talk about shithole countries, and he wants more Norwegians and stuff like that. He does have a predilection for thinking that whites are being treated poorly for some reason.
Elon Musk
Hey,
posted this on X months back. This is quid pro
hey,
quo. Y'all know this is quid pro quo. Elon Musk been posting this, and he been pushing this issue out there into the mainstream for some time. Come on, let's not sit here and act like he didn't do a favor for a favor with this
What did
with Elon
Elon Musk
Musk.
post? What did he
Could,
post
could
today?
I
He was
just could I
posting
just
that they were getting that
Elon,
the
what
people in
Elon
South
Musk post?
Africa, right, the Afrikaners were being what do you call it? They were being killed or whatever, or being mistreated. He's been posting this for a while. You didn't haven't seen his post?
Yeah, I just want to
Yeah,
because
he did actually.
okay. Go ahead, Ch. What do you have to add?
I just say one thing? O.G. Smith said Afrikaners are white, so it's redundant to say white Afrikaners. So I'm sorry if I said that.
Yeah, he's right. Uh, but I see we don't. I ain't say color because we don't want to be accused of saying color in this room. You can say that, okay? Because people go back and like, oh, they talk about color and race, even though it's in the news again, and there's a big part of the news that everyone's talking about. That we
Race.
talk about it here is a problem.
Why did he double
Why?
down on saying I don't care what color they are, I don't care what height, what weight, and all of that? Why did he double down on that portion?
Yeah, well, he doubled
Eh,
down to say he didn't care, but then he went and said they happened to be white. He went back and he called him out for being white.
I have a
Because
question.
let's do it.
My question is, why do they want to leave South Africa? If they have most of the land and they are making, they have businesses and it's lucrative, it seems for them. Why do they want to leave and come to America?
Well, I think when they first tried to get people to come, not too many people responded. Do you guys recall that? They put out there, and not too many South Africans wanted to come. I don't know, Terry, you recall that? They didn't want to come. There wasn't
It,
like a. They thought that was gonna be like a flood of people, and that's why they only got 54 because not too many people wanted to come. And they changed the requirements up a little bit because they thought a lot of people was gonna come, but no one wanted to come here. They're living good
as,
there.
as of last week, it was 80 that they announced that was coming. Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah, but
59.
and that's what I'm trying to tell you. They thought it was gonna be like a whole bunch of people coming, guys. The South
Mm-hmm.
Africa, the Afrikaners, they don't want to come. They don't want
Jo-
to come. They're
Jonathan,
living good over there.
they
And
didn't
and
come. They did not come on their own. They went over there and bring them on a private jet. People who want to seek asylum will find their way here. This guy that went there, threw them, especially brought them on a jet, a private charter jet. And you're calling these people asylum seekers? Come on.
Yeah, what happened, guys, is I don't know if you guys noticed when they first announced this, and guys, look, that they were doing it. No one hardly applied to come. They thought that because they announced it some time ago, and so they had to put a group together, people together to come over because of the fact that the Afrikaners they didn't want to come. They're living too good. They know even with the land redistribution, they're still gonna be living good. They're not gonna give it their primo property and all that other stuff. They're like, okay, here's some straps right here, some straps right there. There you go. I did my thing. You know, and so yeah, they didn't want to come, folks. That's why there's only 54 people in the whole country of South Africa. I don't know what the population of Afrikaners are. I'll look that up, but they had to find people to come. So that's something that you guys think about right there. So, and no, they're being murdered and killed, but no one wants to leave.
Well, and that's why I led with that first question. Why do they like? What case are they making? That is Trump and Elon making for them to come? So we don't. We already have a low 54 people, right? So then you would have to ask yourself, what is the issue? What issue did Elon bring to Trump to bring this to him to say we need to do something there? One of those things is their Black empowerment, economic empowerment initiatives, which is affirmative action, which is similar to DEI. And so what South Africa is doing is trying to give wealth to South Africans. They're trying to, allow them to have an opportunity. It's giving a little DEI, right? And they're like, oh, hell no. Now, the answer to that is not to bring them here. That's not the answer. The answer, what they want, is for them to remove those policies, remove that are DEI, affirmative action related, that are redistributing wealth to South Africans and away from South Africans. I'm sorry, not South Africans, Afrikaners. That's the problem. And this is what I'm saying. Really, what they want, if you have more of them that are complaining or that are bringing issue because they are trying to redistribute wealth in that country, if you lose 54 people, so freaking be it. That's 54 people that are not voting on those policies that are actually going to help South Africans. So yeah, come on over here. They don't need your vote. They can keep moving the South Africans forward economically in that area. Thanks.
Jonathan, do you have the number?
It's 4.5 million.
It's about 4.5 million, yeah.
Out of 4.5 million, they got 54 people.
54 people. That's like somebody called. That's a cookout.
Those are
Maybe the
somebody's
play
family.
wasn't big enough.
No, they're somebody's relatives. Just family
Hey,
members.
Hey, Jonathan, this
Right,
is
Chris.
Onaje.
what was that?
It's OJ. It's Onaje Barnes.
Okay, what's up, Anaje? How you doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, you gotta mute the mic for Anaje, man, because Anaje is that guy, man. I love myself some Anaje. Go ahead, Anaje, drop it on him. He's from Houston too.
Yeah, H
I
Town.
know. Hey, Najee, it's chat. What's up?
Hey now. So one of the more egregious things, because people like one of the responses I've seen online, people like, well, these people bring value and all these other immigrants don't bring value. One of the bigger slaps in the face is to the actual Afghans. Why? Any Afghani that is in America on asylum is likely on asylum because they were helping us in the damn war that we were doing. So they cannot go back home because they ass will get killed. And they really would get killed because they were actually helping Americans as interpreters. Most Afghanistan people who are here in America are on asylum because they were interpreters for our army. That's egregious. Like, if you want to be racist and don't like South Americans and all this or whatever, that's one thing. But like, these are the types of things that Americans lose our standing on. People don't value us. People say these dudes are full of it, right? When you go against, right? You're going against our own deal. You cut a deal with somebody. You say, hey, Come side with me. Come work for my army. Be an interpreter so we can go find terrorists. They do that, and then we tell them we promise to get them over America. Then we lie to them. That's shady, man. That's beyond shady. And then I'll just drop this one bucket on y'all about the South African thing. If you can't call genocide if you don't have any refugees, even though it's 54, that's still a number. And if you want to make up genocide, why would somebody want to make up genocide? Because maybe that's a pretext of putting in troops. And I'll leave it at that.
My brother, the genocide.
Wow. Wow. One second,
Before,
one second, one second, one second. You guys gotta learn to let something breathe. Wow. You guys gotta let something breathe. Wow. I never thought about that. Because when he
Oh,
said genocide, you guys, I don't know if you guys heard what he said. So, Jude, you gotta let something breathe sometime. He said, why is he calling it a genocide? Because maybe that's a pretext to send in troops. Because he also said we're supposed to be having the G20 meeting here. I don't know if we can have the G20 meeting and we can go there. Like it's dangerous.
exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Never thought about that. You guys gotta let things breathe for a while so the rest of the audience can catch up. Wow.
Now, you want to hear one? Now, anybody that thinks that's asinine, if anybody thinks I'm being over the top, Elon just bought a election in America. Elon is 100% South African, and as the brother on the other end just said, yeah. As the other brother in on the just said that Elon been talking about this for a while now. He just ain't bring this up. He talked about this all last year. You don't think Elon has any interest in ruling his former country or his where he has dual citizenship at? Yeah, hey, and let's be clear, as you said, Jonathan, South Africa is not a poor nation. When you talk about real resources, they got resources. There's a whole reason why these colonizers over there in the first place. So, again, I'm not even want to call it. People call me whatever they want to call them. I don't call them Afrikaners. They white. They Dutch. That's what they are. They Dutch. Yeah, you don't get to adopt the country as if it's yours. It's not. So I don't even call them all that. They Dutch in my mind. But again, don't sleep on this whole because everybody somebody's in chat. Oh, Trump doesn't want no war. He has zero interest in war. Trump hasn't honored any damn thing he said at this point. So any of your Trump supporters, you don't know nothing what this dude really doing. You don't know nothing about what his true agenda is. He ain't honored. He hadn't lived up to any damn thing yet that you asking for. So you think he ain't anti-war? Come on, he gonna have a reason to be anti-war because he's saving people from genocide. Okay, just like he's deporting MS-13 guys with Photoshop on their hands. They're gonna make up whatever they want to make up. And half the population too stupid with little critical thinking skills to understand that they're being lied to. They rather see a rich man get richer than their neighbor get richer, which is pathetic. Now,
Wow. Wow, guys, listen to me. I want to play something real quick, and this is a South Africa. It's Africana. Okay, speaking to the people that left. All right, this is what he put out, and I want you guys to listen to this.
The 50 Afrikaners who fled to the US, calling themselves refugees. You are not refugees. You are just a case study of white flight dressed up as martyrdom. You're not escaping violence, you're escaping equality. South Africa didn't chase you away. You ran. Yes, South Africa is one of the most violent countries in the world. Yes, brutality exists, but let's be honest. Violence affects all communities, not just white farmers. Black, colored, Indian, and yes, white people are all targets of a national crime crisis. What we have is a breakdown in safety, not a white genocide. This is not ethnic cleansing, it's criminal collapse, and running to the US won't fix it. You are part of a 7% minority, but somehow still manages to control over 70% of the wealth. That is not persecution, that's a privilege on a guilt trip. And let's be real, if we tried to relocate just half of the Afrikaans population, it would take decades, billions in logistics, and you'd still end up culturally homeless in a country that don't want your apartheid. take baggage. You're not brave, you're not victims. You're scared of a world where you don't get to be in charge, and that makes the rest of the Afrikaans community cringe because you make us look weak. South Africa is broken, and it's our problem to solve. So if you don't have the spine to do so, stay gone.
So anyway, that's Africana. That's from Africa, South Africa. He's doing that from South Africa, and he's like once again, the people in South Africa is looking at this because they understand that what the U.S. is trying to say isn't happening. Even the Afrikaners over there, and they call themselves Afrikaans. They uh, they know that this is like full of shit, and they're calling it out. And so that's why they only got 50 people to go over there. Like I said, because no one wanted to leave because they still control every damn thing. You know, the people that left don't have shit. They're like, fuck it, we're gonna go over here in America and we're gonna get some shit because they're gonna give us some shit. But once again, folks, people in Sudan that really, really need this, and I keep bringing up Sudan because if you guys look up Sudan, they're at war. I mean, anyone needs refugee status in Sudan. We sent a plane, chartered a plane to go and bring them here. All right, and they came, they packed up all their stuff. I saw them waiting in line. They're packed up all their stuff. And let me see if I can find one. A picture of Here they are right here. I'll try to blow this picture up here. Hopefully, I'll blow it. It's loading. I don't know why it's taking so long to load. But here we go. Yeah, it loaded. Now it wants me to, because I did it the second. All right. Well, this is a picture of them lined up at the airport with all of their luggage, and they don't look like refugees. They were able to pack all their stuff up and come over, and so they don't look like refugees at all. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there, folks, for everyone that is like looking at this and thinking like, hey, that this is great. They got clothes on that doesn't look cheap. They're wearing everything. So I just want to put that out there. So there it is, folks. The floor is open. Let's get back to it, folks. Anyone wants to chime in, feel free to chime in.
I just want to say, go Knicks.
Yeah, they're gonna
So
show.
I'm interested to see how fast this fast track will be for them, because we did have the large influx here in New York, and Governor Hochul made attempts to fast track people, getting Social Security numbers, being able to be legitimate workers. I want to see how fast these people get fast tracked and are able to enter the workforce. But again, it's a slap in the face. You mentioned it, JB. Asylum has been put on hold for nations that really need it, for people that are really trying to flee war torn areas. No, you don't matter. We're gonna bring in a bunch of brats because that's what. I'm glad you played that clip of that gentleman. They do look weak. You look weak. You probably would have been able to prosper more had you just strapped up your boots and did what you had to do. But no, you ran away from South Africa because you're entitled and you can't have your way. And when the times get rough, you ran away. I mean, part of me feels like this might be a damn publicity stunt. Hey, we need a bunch of you guys to get on a plane. Let's go over to America. Somebody's trying to rattle somebody, and yeah, it's working because I'm rattled. This is crazy. We have people again, Haiti. We have you mentioned Sudan. We have so many areas where people need to get out and need assistance. I mean, look what they did to USAID. Those places have been affected, and people need to get out. They even left some of our own citizens. But nah, we see the priorities here. It's a slap in the face, and everyone should have a problem with this. Anybody that's sharing this and saying this is a good thing, that tells me a lot about you. So I'll land with that.
Not only that, they're sending back people who had been granted their it just and they're just sending them back like no big deal. Hey, we're going to give you this and under Biden, but then we're going to take it away, and then you're a criminal, which is very odd because it's brown criminal, white not.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, guys, this is um yeah, thank you, Jonathan, for speaking up. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, uh, Dave, for speaking up because I'm trying to keep the room balanced because people tend to leave and say that that's all, what's going on here. Yeah, it makes it difficult to have conversations about what's actually happening in the world because they want to, you know, control what we put out there, and this is real stuff. This is real. As you look at right now, the Wall Street Journal is slamming this. Yeah, everyone's slamming this for the most part. Everyone has slammed this. And what I do, guys, is I go to like Instagram and I go to Facebook. I go all over TikTok, and I just I read the comments to see what Americans think. And I go on Fox site, I go to News Nation, I go to everyone's site to see what is being said and what's happening. I go to everyone, I all over the place, and it's hard. It's hard for anyone to defend this, and a lot of people aren't defending it. Even on some of the right wing site, they're like, "Well, we don't understand this because how can we take care of them?" And we have, it's hard now. Some people are defending it. It's a lot more people who defend it, but there's a lot more people than usual that's not defending a position of the Trump administration, of this administration. So, that's something that definitely, I don't know, guys. When you look at this, you look at the tariffs, okay? And I got to go back to the tariffs because we skipped over that, and we got to do a reset shortly. But when you look at the tariffs, and you look at this, guys, I'm gonna tell you something. I just wish that a lot more people are in tune to what's happening with the tariffs, what happened with the tariffs, because we got our asses handed to us by China. Once again, we got our asses handed to us by China. There's really no other way. We people in Maga land is saying how genius he is. Guys, he's not genius, and they're celebrating. People are celebrating a 30% tax on everything that's coming from China. Christmas will be, guys. They looked at it. They said that 30% equals about $2,300 per family. $2,300 per family a year. That's what that equals. $2,300. So, but the people on the right in Maga land, they're celebrating this. This is a win. They're like, hey, oh man, we won, we won, and they're out there, they're doing everything. Like, yeah, y'all thought Trump was gonna, you guys didn't know what's going on. Oh, Trump winning. Gotcha, bitch. Yeah, that's what they're saying to us. Gotcha, bitch. He won, he won, he won. And they're celebrating. But in the meantime, we gotta pay 30% more for our shit. Guys, listen.
Hey, Jonathan, the story of the day wasn't the China and U.S. deal.
What's this? Go ahead. The plane?
Everybody thinks that's not okay. I got everybody's attention.
Yes.
The story of the day was not that deal. The story of the day was the rollout of the tax plan.
Yeah, but it didn't
Nah,
have.
nah.
Okay, what? Go ahead. I want to hear it.
$880 billion in cuts in Medicaid.
Oh yeah.
And y'all talking about a dummy deal, a deal that don't matter. $880 billion of cuts in Medicaid. And we're talking about a silly ass deal that might change in a couple weeks.
And $4 trillion added to the budget.
Exactly. And the whole bet is that we Americans, see, this is all a regressive tax. And the sad part about MAGA and anybody else, it's not just MAGA, it's on the left too. Guys, y'all can do simple Google. Like whoever you trust, but stop trusting social media influencers for your information. Google, ChatGPT. What is a tariff? It is a regressive tax. I guarantee you it says this. That's what it is. What does a regressive tax means? That means the people on the bottom pay more taxes than the people at the top, essentially. Right? Progressive tax means people at the bottom pay less and it progressively goes higher as you make more money. That is the fundamental definition between a progressive tax and a regressive tax. And tariffs are a regressive tax by any economic terms, whatever book that you decide to look at. Now, well, the whole hustle is we get to cut $880 billion so I can know get me a tax cut and I can allegedly make up the money with some funds. That's the whole hustle. And the dumbass American people will pay for my tax cut via tariff because they're too stupid to use Google. And that's really what's going on.
I don't disagree with you. Once again, the tariffs, and that's why I brought the tariff. Listen to you guys, and we brought up the budget, and I want to do that on the other side, guys, because we definitely got to do a quick reset here, and we got to do a hard reset over on CH. CH, you know what a hard reset is? It's essentially when we shut the room down for about 5 seconds and bring it back up. But you definitely got to do that. But Anaje's correct. You know, there's a lot of meat left on his bone because Tara hasn't read about the budget. Like this budget came out, guys. And these budgets, these things that he's saying, like, hey, he said he's going to eliminate tax on tips, but he's setting it up to only do it during his term, and then after his term is over, it comes back. He's doing all of this stuff, and he's adding $4 trillion, guys.
No tax on tips, but you don't get no overtime though. Look how that works.
Guys, that's what I'm saying. You guys got to read this budget. You guys got to read this budget. Uh, but you know, it comes back in 2029. It comes back when he's out of office. So he's setting everything up to happen while he's in office, and the Republicans are going for it. The Congress and Republicans, they're going for it. They're actually saying, okay, we're going to go for this, guys. This country, if we're not careful, okay, if Congress doesn't wake up, and we need Congress to wake up because Congress has been asleep, there's been really no bills passed at all. Okay, there's been no legislative work done at all since this administration got in office. None. Okay, they're working on one bill, the big beautiful bill. There have been no legislative victories at all. He's been governing through executive orders, essentially, and Congress hasn't said a word. He's been creating law through executive orders. That's what Congress' job is. Congress' job is to make law. Okay,
Jonathan, let me ask a question, please, if you're going to answer me. Supposing midterm comes and they lose both houses, can those laws be retracted? Can the new Congress, come back and say, you know what? All what the previous Congress did, they didn't do their job. Can they actually retract this? Can they do that?
he can veto a lot of that. They can
Well,
do it.
well,
Good.
no, no, no. Let's say there was a law passed, and Trump said fine, and the law goes into effect. If a next Congress passes a different law or takes that law away, the president can veto it. So you'd need a two-thirds majority to overturn a veto. So it's sort of unlikely.
So Tara, is it a two-thirds vote in the House and in the Senate, or just the House?
Thought it was just the House, but I have to check that. Yeah.
What do you mean two terms? What happened? What was the question?
No, no. I asked is it. I'm echoing, so I don't know if you guys are hearing it. But
Yeah, go ahead.
Tara asked if they needed two-thirds of the Congress to remove his veto power.
The entirety of the Congress.
It's both,
Oh,
it's
so it's
both,
both the
it's
House and
both the
Senate.
House and the Senate, so it's never gonna, that's
Okay.
not in Trump's era. You know, you might get the House by a minimal amount, but you're not gonna get the Senate, you're not gonna get two-thirds. So whatever bill is actually passed, let's say the Democrats took over the House in 2 years or a year and a half. If they passed bills, somehow they got it through the Senate, Trump would probably veto anything he didn't like, so nothing will also happen.
So you guys get that, right?
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's where we are, folks. Where and I don't want no one echoing. That's where we are. All right, we're in a very tight spot. But real quick, guys, welcome to Debate the News, folks. You guys are listening to Debate the News, the podcast. If you are listening to us at home We have a bonus episode coming out later on today, Tuesday, the 13th of May. So we have a bonus episode coming in. So come back in and listen to this bonus episode. If you guys are here live, okay, make sure you guys download and follow the podcast up top. We had record breaking numbers last month. Hopefully, we're gonna have record breaking numbers again this month. But more importantly, folks, like I said, download some episodes. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to CH. We're going to do a hard reset, CH. And what does that mean? Well, that means that we're going to shut it down for about 5 seconds. You guys can see yourselves in the hallway, okay? But come right back in, folks, because we're about to dive into this. We're about to get really into nitty gritty in this. Najee, please come back in here. Ray, Tyson, all you guys that's on stage, Freddie, Ben, all you guys, come back in here. We're gonna be right. All you had to do is look in the hallway. You guys, the room will be open immediately. In fact, you guys are gonna go out right now, and then just look in the hallway, and you'll see the room. All right, guys, and we're not bringing them back. I just kidding. All right, they're back. They're back, guys. All right, welcome to Debate the News once again, guys. If you're listening to us at home, this is the bonus episode. So we're gonna get this conversation going again. Yeah, definitely gonna get this going again. Let's see here. What we want to do is we want to start by um, jumping in, guys, because one of the things that we were just speaking about was the what happened with. Give me one moment here as I bring some people up. What happened with the Afrikaners, guys? To me, I mean that is just that's an obvious play. Hey guys, can you once again bring everyone up, folks? Hey, if you're in the audience on CH, make sure you raise your hand and come on up because this is we're talking about Donald Trump. A win for MAGA and Trump doesn't equal a win for America, not necessarily. So that's what we're speaking about. It's a very hot topic. So make sure you guys raise your hand. I'll get up on stage. Tara, you know, where do you see? I mean, do you see more Afrikaners coming? Because it's like they're having problems getting these people to come over here. And how does the Trump administration continue to explain only letting people of a certain color come in?
Well, I think there is projections. It could be as many as 1,000. I don't know that that's the case. When this was originally proposed, some guy on Twitter said there were 70,000 people interested. I don't know if that's the case either. So I can't answer. There's no current plans to bring any more over. Um, how does he look, I think the Trump administration is basically unabashed about these things. It's not a question of him explaining his people. You heard Andrew earlier on say how great it was that, they're saving these terrible people from the horrible genocide that's not going on. I think Trump's supporters believe everything he says. So they believe that and plus many, and I'm not by any means suggesting all, but many of Trump's supporters do have feelings about whites, that they are, they're endangered, let's just say. And so they're very primed to believe that this is a real issue. So I don't think he's going to explain anything. I mean, he's just going to sort of say, look, these people have a terrible, look, just what he said, it's a terrible genocide, they're being whatever. And, at the end of the day, his supporters will believe him, other people will not, but I don't see this as, there's so many other issues, I'm not sure this is going to be the one that's going to, be a huge problem for him. I think that more of the problem is taking away protections from everyone else. I do think the Afghan thing will appeal to even Trump supporters, because if you remember when Biden left and Trump supporters were like, it's a disaster, 13 people died, what a horrible thing, how could he do this? And it was clear that many of the Afghanis who had supported Americans had been left behind, and we made a promise that they would bring them over and we would help them. We would not let them be subject to retaliation by the Taliban. I think a lot of Americans believed in that. And the idea that Trump is basically just sort of, you can send them back now, I don't think that's going to go over that well, to be honest. I think that's the part of it that might go over worse even than the white Afrikaners, who may or may not wind up being an issue. I don't know, Jonathan, what do you think?
I think the Afghans certainly deserve to come over, but I just the other day in here we were saying people were saying we can't bring anyone over because we have to get our own house right before we start inviting people into our house. And then all of a sudden this happened. And now they're like, oh, guys, listen to me. These people, if the Afrikaners were in danger, sure, let's bring them over here. I'm the first one that's gonna raise my hand and say, get them out of there, you know. But they aren't in danger, and this is it's laughable. Guys, if you go to South Africa, there's a lot of crime in South Africa. Okay, there is. All right, there's a lot of crime there. There's a lot of crime here as well. All right, depending on where you are. All right, and it's crime opportunity, and and it's not just the Afrikaners that's suffering by this crime. It is what's called it. It is the people, the Africans, South Africans, are suffering as well. So I just want you guys to be mindful of that. So um, I I don't know, man. When do people start holding uh, these people accountable? This administration accountable? When do you call them out and say, "Hey, that's not kosher," and it's not happening. They're going with everything that's being said and saying, "Yeah, it is what it is." I hate what's happening. So Tara, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know. I don't think this is not going to be. This is not going to be. This is not going to be the straw to break the back. This is not going to be the one that gets his people upset. But this stuff is piling on top of each other. They got to explain the airplane, which is inexplicable. You can't explain that. You can't
Well,
even.
the airplane, interesting enough, there are some of his supporters who don't like the airplane. Laura Loomer, people like that have said they're concerned about the airplane. It's wrong. So that actually has gotten more pushback than I think the Afrikaners had. But let's be real here, Jonathan. I don't think that consistency is the hallmark of MAGA supporters. Do you? you know.
No, I don't think so. But I think I think I think what's going to happen is when like right now the Pope called him out today. As more and more people call him out, it's crazy, guys. Yeah, I want to go back to that, but you mentioned something else earlier, and we didn't talk about it on the main podcast. The Diddy trial. All right. Um, some of the things that happened was just whew, it was interesting. They had a male sex worker come in and said that Cassie paid him to have sex, and Diddy was sitting there at a chair, had his hat on and head down, but he could tell it was Diddy. And so, at one point while they were engaging in sex, Diddy complained that they didn't have enough baby oil on, and so, uh, and also, you know, he spoke to the fact that it seemed like she was drugged at some points, and she seemed like a victim, but yeah, he still participated. Also, he also said, that one time Diddy made him urinate in her mouth until she choked. It's a lot of explicit things going on and being said about that. Tara, you seem to be an expert in this area. Sadomasochism and all that other stuff that's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on.
urinating in people's mouths on certain, Jesus.
so,
Thanks a lot.
so what,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
Because is this domestic abuse? Is it sex trafficking, or is it what is it?
well, they're going to have, like I said, when I discussed it. I mean, look,
Kinky sex.
I didn't see, I don't know all of the testimony, et cetera, just what I read, but it did seem that he provided some openings for the defense to argue that she was involved, that she wanted this, things like that, right? Remember at one point, I think he said that she, she wanted certain things. She wasn't just being portrayed as she was drugged to the gills and she couldn't say anything. And so I think they're going to try and exploit those holes in the testimony. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be able to get away from the fact that, he beat her and stuff like that. But as to the sex trafficking, right now, we don't really have that sort of evidence yet, do we? So we have to see. And I think is she appearing tomorrow, the next day? Is that the deal?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, and that'll be, interesting. But I think this is going to wind up being credibility in many cases because there's going to be people who say, at one point the guy said she looked drugged, at another point he said she didn't look drugged. I mean, I can't answer that. He's giving some openings to the defense, and